The Higdon Outdoors Warthog floating pump is a very, very strong tool that anyone should have if they're moving water. I don't care if you're a farmer, a duck hunter, you just like pumping out low spot in your yard. Awesome tool. When you get this thing, there are some very important steps that you need to take. So everything I've got here in front of me is what is included in the Warthog pump bundle. So you're going to have the pump itself, which has a 5 horsepower Kohler motor. It's got the actual pump housing attached to the motor. You've got your external fuel ring. You've got a quick connect cam lock coupler. You've got a male and female quick connects here. That for your poly pipe. You've got a handful of radiator clamps. And you've also got 100 foot of high pressure poly pipe. When you receive your Warthog pump, the first thing you're going to want to do is to read all these bright yellow and white tags on your motor. It'll specify exactly what you need to do to protect your pump and get it ready for the first startup. So we've got the gear case oil here. It's SAE 80W90. So that goes in the actual oil and case gearbox, and the place for that is right here. You'll find the male side. You'll unscrew this, get a funnel, pour your gear oil in there. It's all pre-measured. It's 1 liter or right about a quart. So that's how much you need, and that's what it is. And then you're going to want to definitely make sure that you put your engine oil, which is SAE 30. It's 1 quart, goes right in the motor. It's all pre-measured. You'll open it up here in the yellow tab, get a funnel, pour it in, save yourself some cleanup. And then you'll also find the motor instructions themselves. So the motor is pretty easy. It's a 5 horsepower commercial grade Kohler motor. And all you really have to know is, here's where you pull to start it. And then it's got controls here on this end. Very simple. It'll outline, you've got stop sign, rabbit, choke. You can actually run this thing, quarter throttle, full throttle, and then to stop it, of course, you'll go all the way in. You've got your air filter here if you want to clean it. You've got your inlet for your gasoline whenever you want to fill your motor up with gas. Your spark plug is located here. Just pull it out. You can change your spark plug, check your spark plug. One of the questions we get asked quite a bit is, what does this fuel selector valve do? How does it need to be positioned? It's pretty straightforward and simple, but you can use the fuel ring. You can open it up. If you're not using your fuel ring and you're just relying on the 1 gallon gas tank that's here on the motor itself, you can close it. That way you're not creating a vacuum from the hose here. So it's pretty straightforward, pretty easy. Just make sure you read all the signage that's here on the motor. Refer to your engine owner's manual. Outside of that, you'll get your motor and gear oil all lubed up, get everything added to it, add some gasoline, and before you start it, you can go ahead and put this fuel ring on. There's no hardware needed. This pump floats, so you just go ahead and set the fuel ring over the top of it, and you can identify that you're going to have this quick connect here, male, female. You'll see the hose coming out of the motor. You can go ahead and connect that. Put gasoline in the ring, put gasoline in the motor itself. Don't do one or the other. It's very important that you actually put gasoline in the motor and not just a fuel ring. That way the motor will start and then begin to pull fuel out of the fuel ring. So another crucial step that you need to pay attention to is when you start this motor for the first time, the Warthog is a special unit in the fact that it doesn't have to be in water to pump. You're not going to burn this pump up if you run it dry, but on your first startup, this impeller is a very specific impeller, and what makes this pump work so well is how tight the tolerance is on the impeller inside of this pump itself. So it's actually going to heat up the first time you start it, especially if it's out of water, and it's going to create a very tight seal. That impeller is going to actually liquefy, and it can weld itself to the inside of this housing if you're not careful. So the best way to avoid that is start this motor, let it run for a few minutes. When you shut the motor down, pull the pull cord a handful of times just to keep that impeller in here moving. Just let it cool off without welding itself to itself, and then you're all good. Another way to avoid that is start it for the first time in water. If you start it for the first time in water, you won't have that problem. If you're going to start this thing dry, make sure you take precautions by reading this letter that's on the top of the motor explaining how to avoid welding the impeller inside of the pump housing itself. All you have to do after that is attach your poly pipe to your quick connect cam lock. So the way that goes on, once you get your poly pipe on here, you'll just use these 2 arms. You'll open it up, go in, and you'll lock it down. We've also included a handful of these other quick connects here. That way if you want a 50-foot section, a 50-foot section, or 80-foot, or 10-foot, you have the option to where you can cut your poly pipe as you want, slide the poly pipe over the quick connects, and then put your radiator clamps there, lock it all down, and you're good to go. This thing will move 850 gallons of water as long as you're under 20 foot ahead. It's a great tool. I appreciate you guys watching this video. Thanks so much for your business. If you have any questions, please call us here at the office. We're happy to help.